Hello everyone, I Dhananjay Gupta welcome you all on Hindu Center of Atlanta's weekly spiritual learning program. Today we are joined with Acharya Brahmadevji from Mauritius. Acharya Brahmadevji has an inclusive educational background in science, banking, management and Darsanacharya, Vedic philosophy, Darshan Yoga Mahavidyalaya, Gujarat, and a diverse career in financial services, industry, and at Arya Sabha Mauritius. He has been a key resource person for Arya Sabha Mauritius on the universal Vedic values, yoga and meditation, and on interfaith and intercultural dialogue at various national and international forums. The Mauritius Council of Religions, Arya Pratinidhi Sabha America, Greater Atlanta Vedic Temple, and Hindu Center of Atlanta Yoga and Meditation Center in Kami. He is author of numerous insightful articles on Vedic philosophy and contemporary issues in English and French. Acharyaji is delivering a lecture on why God in our life today. Over to Acharyaji.
Namaste ji, welcome everybody. Let's sit down straight, close the eyes gently, with your body totally relaxed to bring our focus. 3 times Om Jap, chanting of the universal sound, and 1 time Gayatri mantra. Deep inhale, and while exhaling, you're going to do the chanting. Om Bhurabhuvah Svah Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Join the palms together, rub them slowly and cover the eyes, opening the eyes gently below the palms and transferring the energy to the facial muscles. Now keep the focus. One question which often comes to our mind, but really we take up the questions in discussions with others. Why God in our life? If we understand that questions, the basics, then probably we understand the importance of God in our life and the importance of prayers and where do prayers lead us to. The first thing to be understood that behind any creation, there are 3 causes behind the creation. I take the example of this pen. The first cause is the material cause. We need the material things behind that. Then we need the knowledge, the know-how to create it. And then we need the creator. So in that sense, we need plastic, we need ink, and we need 1 piece of metal to make the nib and the spring to make the pen. And the know-how, the knowledge is by way of engineers designing the machines and designing the shape of the pen, and also to get the ink in one form so that when you turn the pen upside down, it doesn't flow otherwise. So this is the know-how and the technology that is associated with it. And then we need creators like those who built the machines, those who install the plant, and those working in the plants. And beyond that, we need another chain, distributors who can bring that to the shops and we buy it from there. Likewise, behind this universe, if we take the creation, the raw materials is defined as the prime raw materials, which is called Prakriti. And this is the three components of Prakriti is Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun, which is found in every single element of this universe in varied proportions. The know-how and the knowledge, the technology to create this earth is what we can call it the superpower, the super force, but in one short word is Ishwar, God. And the creator also here is Ishwar, God, the omnipotent, all-powerful. So this gives the three reasons, but Ishwar accumulates two positions there. As the all-knowledgeable with the knowledge, and as the all-powerful to be able to create it. And the Vedas say, there's one mantra which says, Surya Chandama Saudhata Yatha Purvam Kalpayat. This creation is one cycle of many creations, because once the creation is done, God sustains the creation, and then at the end of the life cycle, dissolves everything back to Prakriti. And we should know the three eternals there are one God, Ishwar, Paramatma. Second is Jeev, which we know commonly are the souls. And then the third one is Prakriti, matter. These are the three eternals. Matter, as science says, matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It only transforms to other things. And this physical body also is matter. And going also beyond that, we've known that Ishwar is the creator, the sustainer, and the dissolver of the universe. But then he is also giver of knowledge. Besides the revelation in terms of the Vedas with the four tones, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda, given to mankind at the creation, by creating light, enabling us to see all around and learn from the universe. So much of the physical sciences and the social sciences also, which we learn by the how different species behave. These are the social sciences. So this is the knowledge that we acquire, and this knowledge is given to us by Ishwar, God, directly or indirectly. Then there's the operation of the law of karma. For each and every action that we do, there will be an equal and corresponding reaction in terms of karma. For whatever good we do, we'll get the good yield of those karma. And for whatever bad we do, we'll get the negative or penalty for the karma. So the karma also is administrated, part of it probably by the courts of justice here, but if we escape by the wits of lawyers or by our own wit, we escape the justice of the courts here, there is little likelihood that we'll escape the karmas in the present life, but whatever is carried forward will be reaped in future lives. So the administration of the law of karma, it is not left to human beings as the final determinant. Because we've seen people escaping the laws, the course of laws, but then at the end of the lifetime, they still have a regret. And many of them have expressed their regret in terms of that they didn't know that they will end up their life in remorse. So we see there is the upper hand in exercising those laws. Now for understanding the creation and the sustenance, this is the concept of yatha pinde tatha brahmande. Whatever we see at the micro level, at the microcosm level, we see it also at the macro level or the macrocosm level. And whatever we see at the macro level, we can see it also at the micro level. Like take our body, whatever food we have is taken into the stomach, goes into the digestive system, and then whatever waste is excreted, but the good things are retained, and then from the stomach, the systems deliver it to the various parts of the body. It's likewise when we take the breath, it goes into the lungs. The circulatory system brings the oxygen to various parts of the body. So when we eat, we don't see those systems. But then medical studies, they've gone into the depth of that with biology and with science. They've come with the models and the proofs of that. Likewise, to ascertain the presence of God in this, they've been specialists in that, and these were the rishis. And the rishis have gone into meditation, contemplation, interpreted what they could personally feel during that ultimate meditation stage, samadhi, and whatever knowledge they got directly from Ishvara God. Then they came with that, unfolded it. First, there were the Vedas revealed to them. They unfolded the knowledge of the Vedas, simplified that knowledge in terms of the Upanishad. We see them treating people, but one thing which we don't see. I'll take the example of the ATM. We know we'll put our cards there, we can check our account balances, we can withdraw money, or we can deposit money, but then we don't see the back end processing. We don't see the software engineers who created the software and who are maintaining the software, but then the system is there. And it's a whole connectivity, universal connectivity of ATMs, be it we have a card in America, I can use it in China, I can use it in Australia, I can use it even in South America, worldwide. We don't see the connection. And if I say no, if I don't see, I don't believe. And there's none of it, how can this system operate? So the concept of Hinduism saying yatha pinde tatha brahmande brings us also to that God who has created this whole system of the universe, sustaining it with a balance through attraction, repulsion, revolution of the various planets within the galaxies, and the galaxies, each one in equilibrium with the other one, and millions of galaxies like this. So it's a very complex structure, as good as how we can see on the small level, the infrastructure, the network of computers working to maintain the financial services system in place worldwide. and the interconnectivity also. The next question would be, who is the first God? A simple Google search, typing the line, who is the first God? It will give us the return answer as Brahma or Prajapati. And Brahma is written B-R-A-H-M-A-A, because in Hindi and Sanskrit, if you have single A, it's silent. That's why the first one, B-R-A-H, it's Bra. And then when we have to pronounce it A, it's double A, then it becomes Brahma. And the anagram of it, or the interchanging of the words, have given the word Abraham in the Western world. Seems amazing, but then when we boil everything down, we go to the essence, we'll find that the source is one. And that's why the Rig Veda is recognized as the most ancient scripture or text of humanity in this world. And this is not mine. This is by UNESCO and by the ISBN library based in US. So if we go now moving into more details, the Sanatan Dharma is basically monotheistic. For whatever multitudes of God which men have thought about, have probably painted as a picture or made as an idol, but at the root of it, it's still the one God. And the Vedas, the Yajurveda ends with these three words, Om Kham Brahma. God as the most powerful, or the superpower of this universe, and the greatest. None is equal or greater than Ishvara, God. And the Rig Veda, which starts with Om Agnim Mile Purohitam. Om, the name of God, which is the universal sound. Then Agnim, Agni. Agni refers to the physical energy as we know it. And it corroborates with what science says. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And Einstein came with the formula E is equal to mc squared. Matter can be converted into energy. Nothing is contradictory or is opposed to modern science. In fact, modern science is in tune with the Vedic teachings. And then Purohitam. God is there for the universal total welfare of all the living beings in this universe. Yeah, when we put the questions, if is Purohitam for the universal welfare, then why do we see suffering? Suffering is because our wrong usage of all the infrastructure, the facilities that exist in the world. Like when we pollute the air, we are going to have respiratory diseases. When we pollute the waters, that is going to affect our health. And when we pollute the earth, we are going to get a polluted environment and it becomes hectic for us to live. And this is the return or the boomerang of karma. For whatever suffering that we do, if we delve into our own self with some moments of silence, which is basically going into moments of silence is meditation. When we go into moments of silence and we sit in silence, we ask the questions, why are we suffering? the general answer comes, oh, I don't know what I did. Surely I did some wrong at some point in time, and this is why I'm suffering. And this is the inner voice driving. How come the inner voice is driving to that without any prior reference? Even for those who don't believe in God, the atheists, when they suffer, they ask the same question. I don't know, I don't recall, but surely I did something wrong for which I'm suffering now. And to be able to recognize that one sentence gives us that there is one behind, unseen, who operates the law of karma. For every action, there's an equivalent corresponding reaction. So if we see the basics, forget about the Vedas, the Upanishads, they are the teachings. Let's take what our inner voice guides us to. Then we see the importance of God in our life. And Sanatana Dharma says, Ekam sad vipra bahuda vadanti. God is one. The wise call God, Ishwar, by various names according to the various characteristics or the various attributes or actions that Ishwar God does. Take one example. As the creator of this universe, the Sanskrit word for God is Savita. As giver of life, God is known as Bhu in the Gayatri mantra. As the remover of pains and sorrows, through the divine guidance, leading us to think righteously, to use the appropriate, correct words, not to cause pain or sufferings to others, and to drive us to be righteous in our actions. God is known as Bhuva. And as the all blissful and giver of bliss, happiness, especially when we go into moments of silence, we can sense the inner peace. God is known as Swa. Then Savita is from Savitor in the Gayatri mantra. So if we go into these, we find that the Gayatri mantra itself has so many names of that one God, and each name describes one particular characteristics or actions of God. That's why the Vedas say, Ekam sad vipra bahuda vadanti. It's not a question that God is one and then the wise have created many gods out of the one. No. Yeah, there's been conception. People have imagined and artists have created pictures to depict that. And we've forgotten to understand the underlying meanings of the various forms, the various attributes that we can understand. And probably people who've studied art can relate to that. Or people who studied a bit of literature can easily relate to those characteristics depicted by the artist. Then we get the concept in Hinduism also, which says the Trinity, Ishvara, Jeev and Prakriti, God, souls and matter are the three eternal entities. And then it says, Ishvara Sarva Vyapak, present everywhere and at all times. To be able to know what is occurring everywhere in this universe, God as the entity, it has to be omnipresent, Sarva Vyapak, present everywhere at all times. If it's present somewhere and the earth is there, and in the physical form with eyes to see, can see only this half, the half below cannot be seen. That gives one logic of the omnipresence. And that omnipresence conquers with the omniscience, that God knows everything that occurs in this universe. And that's why, in due course, the results of karma will come to us. Now the question is, if God is omnipresent, knows everything, at the very moment the occurrences are happening, why the delay in karma? I will come again to Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande. Whatever we see at the micro level, it is seen at the macro level and vice versa. Some people work on hourly basis. They come to me, say, okay, this work is going to take 1 hour and you're going to pay me probably $20 or $25 an hour for that work, plus whatever have been my travel costs. Some people will work for a day. Even if they work at your place for half an hour or 1 hour, they will charge you 1 day, because they can't do anything else during that day. So, and after that day's work, they take their pay and go. Some work on weekly basis, some work on fortnightly basis, some work on monthly basis, and some work on monthly basis, taking a minimum pay, but taking the chunk at the end of the financial year in terms of bonus shares, in terms of productivity bonus, etc. Karma also operates like that. Some of the karmas for which we are doing, we get the immediate results. Like when I'm cooking rice, after 10 minutes, it gets cooked. But if I have to cook bread, I have to put it to fermentation, probably overnight, and then cook it the next day. Likewise, for each and every karma that we do, some of them we reap immediately, some of them in probably during the day or the next day, and some will come ultimately after some years, some even after some cycles of birth and death. That's how it operates. Now let's look at our relationships with God. Mainly can be defined into one, the Creator. And as the Creator, two relationships come there. Mata and Pita, mother and father. Mother, the Creator, father as the protector. And Pita, Mata is Mata Nirmatri Bhavati. Nirman Karne Wali, the one who shapes us. One is 9 months in the womb, and then starting by nurturing, feeding, giving the proper sense of direction. At times we don't fail it, but the bond that the mother shares with the child is exclusive. So many subtle things are transmitted without even any word, just by the feelings. Then Pita, the father. Mostly fathers go make the run outside, run the errands also. But then after the child starts walking, the father starts taking an upper role in terms of protecting the child, bringing to school, getting things done in the life of the child till the child has grown to an extent where he or she can shoulder the responsibilities. That's the purpose. The word Pita in Sanskrit, Raksha Karne Wale, Palan Karne Wale. And this is one second relationship with God. Then we know the third relationship is Bandhu Sakha. Bandhu Sakha, Bandhu like the sibling always by our side. And God has been with us in the previous lives, in this life and the next lives. and even during dissolution phase, keeping the souls in good custody. Then as Sakha, as friend, or even as Bandhu, sibling, real sibling or friend, what does it do? The friend or the sibling, whenever we do something good, gives a gentle tap on the back, encouraging us to move ahead. Go ahead, and this comes into the terms of Charaiveti, Charaiveti, keep moving, keep moving. But when something is wrong, they will just take hold of us, make us sit down, and tell us this is the wrong path. Please review the strategies, the tactics that you're using, or even change your goals. And we can see that if we take a pause in whatever we do, if it's good, we can sense the drive, the motivation within us. And if it's bad, we have the feeling of shame, fear, doubt, and things like that. So that is the friend, the sibling, holding us from the bad things or from evil, and the motivation is a gentle tap to keep moving, going ahead. The next relationship is Guru. And in terms of the Yoga Darshan, it says, Sarvesham Purvapi Guru. I had a teacher, and the teacher had a teacher, and the teacher had a teacher. Ultimately, what will reach? Will reach the 4 rishis to whom the Vedas were revealed. And throughout all the other faith, religions, etc., we'll see that they come to the same thing. The same universal concepts are there. God as the all-knowledgeable and giver of knowledge. And we can still sense the knowledge that is given to us in day-to-day life. It's just that if we practice some moments of pause, especially when engaging not in routine, but in new actions or new endeavors, we can find the knowledge that is given to us to move ahead or to go back. That is one form of knowledge. Or at times we get the gut, what we know in modern management are the gut feel. And that gut feel enabled to get, just to take one example, it enabled Newton to inquire into why things fall up, down to the ground, and not go the reverse. Say from the tree, the apple didn't go further up, but it fell down to the earth. This is what led also Alexander Fleming to look for what cured him from mold on a bread. He was a doctor, he got some injuries which didn't get cured, and he was so flabbergasted. He got an old piece of bread with mold and rubbed it there, and it got cured. And he went into that and then found penicillin was there. Penicillin became famous for curing as antibiotic, antipyretic. Likewise, we've been using things from nature, created so many things, mastered energy in terms of electricity, mastered the existence of oil and gas in nature, use that for so many things. These have been the gut feel of people who became, whom we know as probably inventors or creators. But if that gut feel was not there to go to inquire and to bring forth the things, it would not have been there. That's why Ishwar is known as Param Guru, the giver of knowledge. And the last one is the Vyapya Vyapak Sambandh, the all pervading. By being omnipresent, it pervades all things that we see in the universe, whether living or non-living. And to understand the concept of all pervading, it's easy. Take one cotton ball, dip it into water. We'll see water within the cotton ball and all around the cotton ball. The cotton ball is one entity and the water is another entity. Though the water is within the cotton ball, but it doesn't mix up. That is the Vyapya Vyapak Sambandh. God is all pervading by its omnipresence, and this is how it pervades everything in this universe. And the other example of all pervading is, just to understand it better, take rasgulla, the sweet, which is dipped in syrup, the cheese ball fried and then dipped in syrup. That cheese ball is an entity in itself. When it's dipped into the syrup pervades the cheese ball and is all around the cheese ball. And if that cheese ball is washed in water, probably 10 times or 100 times, we no longer find the sweetness. So the entities are different. As we say in Hindi, kulta milta nahi. They don't merge to become one. The entities remain separate. So just to sum up of what I said today, relationship with God. God as first, the creator, sustainer, and dissolver of this universe, the giver of knowledge, and the administrator of the law of karma. These are the 5 basic functions of God: creator, sustainer, dissolver, giver of knowledge, and 5, the operator or administrator of the law of karma. Our relationships with God as the creator's mother, father, sibling and friend, guru, preceptor, and all pervading to be able to guide us within as the divine inner voice within us. Then the various names through which we know God pertains to one and only God. Each and every other name, Om being the all-inclusive universal sound, the other names refer each to one of the multiple characteristics, attributes, and actions of God. Now let's sense why Om as the universal sound. We'll do free Om chanting, and when we are doing the Om chanting, let's see from where the sound originates, how it moves through our body, and where it ends. And what is the effect of the sound on the chanting, the vibrations all around us? What is the effect of that on our body? Let's sit down straight and just do that 3 times Om chanting, but be very observing, attentive to the chanting. Deep inhale. So if we've been attentive, we can sense the sound. When we start the chanting, O starts from the digestive region, the stomach. This is from where, as we say, Jataragni, then moves gradually, slowly up to the throat, where we start accentuating on the O, and when we come to the M, it's vibrating on the brain, this central nervous system. As we say, this is the CPU of the body. This is one. And then how do we recognize the effects of the sound? If we paid attention to the vibrations, we can sense the inner peace developing within us. And when we feel that inner peace, this is where we can also sense the divine guidance, the inner voice pushing us to be righteous at all times and stay away from sins and evil. The other aspect of your Om as a universal sound, if people have been practicing stretching out in the early morning, like we do, oh, just listen to the word that comes out of our mouth, irrespective of whatever faith we belong to. It's Om. And when especially we've overeaten lunch or dinner, when the bloating comes and the sound comes out, let's pay attention to that. It's again Om, irrespective of to what faith, to what creed, or we don't believe or don't believe in God. That is the universal sound. So we can sense how this sound is universal, just re-equilibrating the energy in our body. And the universal sound in terms that it comes out of the mouth of each and every single human being. I just hope I've been able to provide some insight, giving on some of the 5 essential characteristics or actions of God, and the 5 essential relationships, privileged relationships that we enjoyed with God. Thank you for your attention. If there's any question, we can just take that very rapidly, or else I'll leave the floor to Dhananjay ji for the closing, and we'll do Om Jap at the end again.
Thank you, Acharya, for explaining so beautifully the relations with the God and what the God does for us, and how are we related with the God. As you all know, we have a Friday for the kids learning Sanatan Dharma Simplified series at 9 p.m. On Saturday morning, we have a weekly satsang, Saturday morning, 10:30 to 12 noon every Saturday. And on Sunday, we have spiritual learning for the adults every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So please join us on those programs. At last, we will have a Om chanting, and then we will end. Over to Acharya.
Sit down straight, close the eyes gently, one deep inhale and exhale, chanting the Om. Thank you for attention. Namaste, everybody.